Well, Chihiro, my boy, it's time to cook or be cooked. What's up, guys? That guy with it. That guy with it. That guy with it. Pencil here. Fun fact, I do Insu. Have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact. I mean, like, obviously Chihiro's not really in any danger. Like, jeez! I need to cut a river. But regardless, Cheeto's not in any real danger, right? Like, let's be completely honest. While I do happen to have it on me, keep it on me at all times, I think we also know that Cheeto has a little bit too much narrative importance to actually get boomed by Samura, right? Like, that's not gonna happen. But now the main question, the main point of conflict, is how is Cheeto gonna convince Samura to not boom him? Considering Samura does seem to still be going for that. I thought Samura was just gonna be like, I swear to determination, kid. I'm gonna need that blade from you though. And he's just gonna rob it and then dip. But no, it does seem like Samura still wants smoke. So obviously the main question is, how on earth is Shiro gonna convince Samura to, one, not boom him and take N10, and two, presumably get Samura to, like, not necessarily switch sides. Because Samura technically, he's on the right side of history. He didn't even boom Uraha, he didn't boom Shiro. Like, clearly, he's not trying to boom anyone who's actually, like, innocent. Or even, like, remotely innocent adjacent, like Uraha, for example. So, like, he's only trying to boom himself and the Sword Saint. So technically, he's not on the wrong side. But essentially, how is he going to get someone to open up? I think that's the main conflict that we're in right now. And ultimately, I'm guessing he's gonna have to find a solution. A solution that doesn't include booming the Sword Saint and everybody else, right? Like that's the only way I could see him actually convincing Samura. Because Samura, he's very matter of fact about it. Like, Shinichi exists, Sword Saint exists, we all exist. Could boom all of reality, including my beloved daughter. Not happening. So he's definitely going for that. But let's just see how my glorious, legendary, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious King Chihiro will convince him otherwise. Chapter 80. It's not on the... Man, I'm telling you, dog. For some reason, Hokuto no Sensei loves to have the chapter titles everywhere but the first page. Like, I swear this is just the me thing. It is almost never on the first page. I'm trying to think. Has it ever been? No, in recent memory. Let's see. The malediction. That's the Shinichi's power. Roguhiro didn't talk about it, but he didn't intend to hide it from you forever. But it was too much to share with you at such a young age. Yeah, like, especially I gotta think about, like, the context that Chihiro had, relatively speaking, for his father, and for, obviously, the wielders of the Enchanted Blades in general. Imagine if you were told, at a very young and tender age, that those heroes, you know, that save the entire country with the help of your daddy, turn one of those weapons of mass destruction into a weapon of mass destruction that caused so much mass destruction that it literally wiped out a nation after the war was already over. Yeah, because, like, the thing is, you can't really explain them. That's just that. I mean, like, maybe you could say, oh, the malediction was used to stop the island nation's first attack, but even then, wiping out them all, including the innocent men, women, and like, that's kind of great. So obviously, I get why Kunishige, my brain blanked on his name for a second. I get why Kunishige would be like, I mean, like, I'm teaching how to make the blades, so, like, clearly, he's gonna have to know about, like, the risks, right? Because that's the main thing. Notably, it's not like Kunishige himself, as far as we know, went out of his way to make the malediction. That was just the Sword Saint feeling extra devious and the Enchanted Blade being like, we can be devious, and making the malediction. But considering Chihiro was learning how to make new blades, it didn't seem like Kunishige nor him were going to stop making new blades, and then was just the first of presumably more they were going to make. Letting your son know about the fact that these weapons of mass destruction can literally wipe out entire nations. Yeah, seems like some pretty pivotal info. We'll see. Slowly but surely, we'll learn to do that together. Aw. Actually, it was a little bit too slow and a little bit too unsure. Let's see. I understand. 200,000 lives, which is crazy. And, like, at least from what I understand of the malediction, that happened, like, instantly. Like, notably, we know it didn't affect the other sword bearers, who were presumably still there, right? Like, they were on the island. But the fact that he, like, just went, and then everything around him died. Like, that is actually crazy. I do want to see the Sword Saint fight. And ultimately, I do think we're going to see him fight with the Shinichi, right? Like, we're going to get a run back of the event that we probably, the real debate is, are we ever actually going to see Samura, Uraha, and the other three sword bearers against the Sword Saint? I don't think we ever. I think it's gonna very much be like All Might versus All for One round one, where we're never gonna see it, but we're probably gonna see a run back of it in a sense. Where I think it's gonna be Chihiro, it's gonna be Samura. I'm assuming it's gonna be Hirohiko, right? He's still alive, so that means his blade is Kumayori. He's still tied directly to him, so I doubt it'll be Ura. Ura may be there for support, but he'd just be a regular dude. But presumably, reinvested, reawoken, evolved Hirohiko after he maybe gets a dub of some sort. And then maybe the other sword bearers, they're all presumably gonna have to jump the sword saint, right? Like there's no way. It like the Shinichi being in the same area as the sword saint. I know Hakure's there, and I know his whole point is to stop that from them, not just the Hishaku from getting it, but also the sword saint from getting it. But at the same time, like it's a big enough thing. But it's not too big a thing. Like, for reference, spoilers for the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, so skip 2 minutes ahead if you don't want any spoilers for that. But there's something in the JJK manga known as the merger. And as much as I wanted it to happen, especially with retrospect being 2020, hindsight being 2020, there was no way that thing could have happened, because it would have just meant, like, a world-ending scenario, right? And while, obviously, the Shinichi being back in the hands of the Sword Saint is definitely seemingly a world-ending scenario, it isn't. And, like, because of that, I feel like it is a Chekhov's gun that eventually needs to be taken off the wall and fired. We're gonna see him wield it, and presumably we're gonna see Tsuhiro himself go band for band, bang for bang with it. But obviously, I don't think he'll be able to do that alone. I think he will need to jump him. But let's see. We are complicit in the deaths that they cause. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Kunishige said that to him. We are complicit in the deaths that they cause. That's why he sealed up the enchanted blades. Without the enchanted blades, the people of this country would have been massacred. But even so, Rokuhiro was racked with guilt for forging them. Yeah. It's very, it's funny, once again, because I think around the time Kagurabachi came out is when Oppenheimer dropped in particular. I think, because was Barbenheimer 2024 or 2023? Hold on. Googler. Answer my question. I think it was that last year? Once again, man, time is moving so funny for me that I actually don't remember. When did Oppenheimer come out? 2023. So it was 2023. Okay. See, funnily enough, considering the whole idea of Kagurabachi is a big story about like legacy and weapons of mass destruction and how people who made them, how people who wield them feel. Oh, chapter 83, the end. All right. So not first page, but second page. But considering Kagurabachi is a big story about like legacy and the power of these weapons and what did we do by making them and did we do the right thing by making them and using them against these certain people to stop a massive conflict, but ultimately it leads to these effects of it lingering afterwards and maybe more people want to make them and we like legitimately like let's be honest, you know what the enchanted blades are referenced to, or at least their story like down to certain bad people wanting them and doing anything to get them, along with the fact that anyone can wield them at a great cost. The enchanted blades are nukes. let's not mince words here. That's what they are. And they're cool sword nukes, but they're nukes. And they're weapons of mass destruction. So ultimately, this whole idea of Rokuhira, or Kunishige, visibly feeling guilt for forging them, is the same way that Oppenheimer mentioned feeling. And I believe they covered... I actually haven't watched Oppenheimer. I heard good things about it. I didn't watch the Barbie movie either. I remember the Barbenheimer was such like a big thing back in 2023. I was like, don't care. But I remember, because of what I used to read on Oppenheimer, he felt very, very guilty. The whole I am become death. Because of the idea that, yeah, made the atom bomb. And sure, we got nuclear energy out of that, but like, yeah, made the atom bomb. Let's see. Then why did he give me this? Well, he didn't give it to you. He made it with you. But also, like, presumably to defend yourself? I'm guessing. Enten. Let's see. Considering this is the title of the chat. Is it finally going to be a... Because I've seen a lot of people saying the only way that Chihiro... And once again, I mentioned it earlier. The only way that Chihiro is ever going to be able to convince Samura to, hey, chill out, maybe take care of your daughter and not boom yourself, is if he has another way to get rid of the enchanted blades. And a big thing that, like, it kind of got glazed over, but... was important and did seem to come back to haunt us, because the chapter's called the Enten and we're fighting Samura right now. I'm thinking many people brought up the idea that maybe that's Enten's purpose, to break the other enchanted blades, and Kumayuri broke when in Sojo's hand when attacked by Enten. Maybe that's Enten's whole purpose, to shatter the other blades. And ultimately, even if Kunishige never really intended for Chihiro to go down the avenging murderous path, he always wanted to give him the key or help him create the key to essentially destroy, I don't know, destroy his own legacy by destroying the Enchanted Blades. Hey, we'll see. Chapter 83, The End. Okay, oh, are they about to fight in midair? I mean, I think, that's the thing. Honestly, Samura should cook this man to oblivion if but let's see. The block of doom. Ah, okay. Someone had pointed out at the end not last week's, because we were on break, 2 weeks ago review, that Chihiro's, what Chihiro did, I misinterpreted it, and then ultimately he ended up using Nishiki, I do believe, to enhance his vision just so he could barely block in time. Or else he would have died. Let's see. Boom. But yeah, look at the 4 Samura moves with. He just swings off, and Chihiro goes flying down. Zing, zing. Ugh, his strength is insane. If I tried to counter instead of deflecting it, it would have sliced my arm off. That is crazy. And once again, it's hard to tell how much of that is even Tobimune. And once again, we know the Enchanted Blades do give you some sort of increased stats and amps, but like we also know it has to be like very specific, right? Like Nishiki is specifically being used to buff Chihiro's perception with his eyes, so he could block and deflect, or no, block very specifically instead of counter. But that's a specific buff he's applying to himself, and obviously we know the Kumayuri applies debuffs, and Tobimune allows for healing. But I think Samura just is that cracked. Like, he just is literally that physically strong, which is kind of crazy. Let's see. But we also know you can reinforce yourself with spirit energy, and just because you lose your sorcery when you become an Enchanted Blade wielder doesn't mean like your raw reinforcement stats go down. So it makes sense that Samura, an extremely experienced sword master, who also is an extremely experienced Enchanted Blade wielder, would have just crazy buff stats. He's also like presumably in his late 30s, early 40s, which is like around the prime of like a human male's life, versus Chihiro, who is 18 or like 19. So technically, Chihiro isn't anywhere near his prime physically in terms of regular humans. Let's see. Lands. Okay. There's a saying from the Seitei War that's fitting. When blackbirds flock, death is nigh. It's obvious where that saying came from. Yeah. And you know what? Once again, part of me does wonder. Well, we know in the Seitei War, there were the levels and ranks of groups of people. So, like, it is, I would like, it doesn't have to be a long flashback arc. It can literally be like 5 chapters. But I would love, and honestly, you know, I'd want 6 chapters, one dedicated to each of the sword wielders, to see what it was like, right? Because notably, we know Samura, it's been confirmed time and time again, over and over and over again, that Samura, even with so much time apart from Tobimune, has just drastically evolved his inner realm, and ultimately has just gotten way stronger and way more diverse and way more dangerous than he was before. So I would have loved to see like a younger Samura first figuring out the blade and like how it works and how to interpret it. And once again, we know a lot of the Enchanted Blades and their abilities fall down to personal interpretation. We know that Samura's biggest evolutions likely have come from self-reflection, a whole bunch of self-hate. So it would have been interesting to see what Samura in the past was like, considering even back then, before he was as dangerous and basically the strongest in the verse as he is right now. I know Sword Saint's probably stronger with the Shinuchi. Doesn't have the Shinuchi right now. Samura's top 1. But with it being the case, I would have loved to see a previous Samura. I would love to see Uruha wield Komikuri at all. Once again, I don't... Maybe because we didn't spend much time with Uruha, but I still can't figure how he, in particular, would wield the Komikuri. Like, Komikuri does seem so heavily spec'd into Hirohiko, but it's only because we've only seen Hirohiko use it, and we know that Hirohiko has his own unique adaptations and manipulations of it. But I would have loved to see how Uruha would like bring an environment to life with play, or use Banquet is kind of like obvious how to use that offensively. Like you make your opponent strong and then you just slash their heads off. But it's like still, it would have been interesting to see them wield it. But let's see. Show me. What on earth do you want to show me? But you know what? I like that someone's like, alright, gang. You live this first attack. I'll let you yap a little bit. What you talking about? He's interested. And once again, I think that is because Samura is fighting like for a threefold purpose, really it's a twofold purpose. He's not just fighting for like the sake of the world and protecting everyone from malediction and destroying the sword saint and stuff like that, but also very specifically, he's fighting for his daughter. And obviously she falls into the first category. But I think he also kind of doesn't want to die, right? Like and obviously, he's resolved to because of the guilt he feels, and ultimately he feels like he's the only one who can do it, and he feels like he can do it the right way because he's the only one with the abilities to. But at the same time, he wants to be there. He wants to be there for Iori, man. He was a good dad. It's just that he felt the guilt about it. I think especially now, seeing Iori in action, seeing Shiro literally risk it all by summoning back Enten and using it, obviously clearly calling him, even though obviously Hirohiko was there tweaking out anyway. So like, no matter what, Shiro's gonna have to summon Enten. But all that to say, being reunited with Iori, seeing that Iori herself broke the seal, it's probably any like submerged feelings of fatherhood and like the desire to directly be a father. If they were buried away in Samura, it's likely that Iori's calling and summoning of him literally is digging it all out. So he's now directly looking for some other way. He's like, what? Like, you think I haven't thought about this for the past, like, 10 years of my life? Or however, well, it's longer than that, because he's chill. Like, the last 2 decades, I've thought about nothing but this and all the different ways we could try it. Nothing's gonna work. Let's see. And I do like how the feathers have holes in them. I'm guessing that's supposed to signify snow? I'm guessing? Let's see. What on earth do you want to show me? There's a way... I still don't know why it does that, but... There's a way to prevent the malediction without sacrificing any lives. You may still want to kill the Sword Saint, though. like, especially considering how powerful both Uraha and Samura were with nothing in their hands. And considering the guy was called the Sword Saint, he was the leader of the Enchanted Blade Wielders. I genuinely do think... okay, so we are going this way. Okay, so we are going this way. I'm assuming he's going to bring up the destruction of Kagurabachi. But... I still think the Sword Saint's a fiend, right? Once again, we don't know fully if the Enchanted Blades have any sort of level of sentience of their own, and we especially don't know if they have any sort of level of sentience that could actually affect another human being, right? Like could an Enchanted Blade Wielder go right up into their master's ear and be like, "How you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear. I got something that you may want to hear." And like got up in the Sword Master's head, was like, "We gotta boom all these people right now. Right now, come on." Like, that does seem to be, like, an innate instinct of the Sword Saint to just be, like, massively violent for some reason or another. So, may want to boom him. But let's see. There's no way we destroy the Shinichi. Someone was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I forgot to draw my beard hair here and here just because you brought this idea. The Shinichi is the source of the eternal contracts. We destroy the Shinichi. If the Shinichi were to be destroyed, the contracts would become null. Nobody has to die. And once again, I think that also just is the best way. Since the malediction is known about, and I do have a comb right here. Hold on. Since the malediction is known about, right? It's very likely that not even let's say Yura fails, right? Let's say Yura absolutely fumbles the bag and gives up. Why? What are you doing? But say Yura fully fumbles the bag, like absolutely fumbles the bag, and doesn't get his hands on the Shinichi. The fact that the malediction is just a possibility with that blade, ultimately, booming the Sword Saint is nice and all until someone else gets their hands on the Shinichi and does something as bad or worse. It could be as bad because of the template that already exists in the malediction, or it could be worse. So yeah, ultimately, destroying the Shinichi and the Enchanted Blades in general is the one way to stop anything and everything from happening from them ever again. But at the same time, I still understand why the Kabunabi, if they even could, once again they probably couldn't, considering the Enchanted Blades do seem extremely powerful, you know, living, walking sword nukes, or not walking, but still, living sword nukes, it's very likely they don't want to do that, considering the island appeared in the first place, and was, like, extremely dangerous and random. Unless, and once again, no one corrected me when I asked, hey, is that propaganda? No, the island did just pop up out of nowhere, and then attack. Like, that is the true part of the story. It's the whole idea of, oh, you know, they came to this, that, and the third, and then malediction. Like, there's the incorrect information there. But, with that being the case, who knows? If that island popped up, what other islands are out there? This is a world of magic. You never know. And considering the only guy who can make Enchanted Blades is dead, you may want to have at least summon you back. You know. But at the same time, you know, you just spec into higher power sorcerers like your zombies and your Shibas. Let's see. If only we could just... Yeah, okay, so someone really is going down a path of like, kid, I've been thinking about this since before you were born. If only we could just destroy it. What? After the war, we tried everything we could think of. We couldn't even scratch it. That makes me even more interested to know how... I mean, I guess they just attacked him, right? Especially with like someone like Samura and presumably Ura. I don't know the other... Well, we know the Cloud Gouger like created and manipulated like storms and lightning, stuff like that. But... so they must have just like viciously ganked the Swordmaster's body and completely left the blade alone, right? For it to be undamaged, I'm guessing? Yeah, we couldn't even scratch it. That is crazy. And that's with their own Enchanted Blades. And we know the Shinichi is just the most powerful of the Enchanted Blades, but like still, for 5 other Enchanted Blade wielders to be attacking it all at the same time, presumably using all their special abilities, nothing happened? Like, kind of crazy. Especially considering Udo has something like play, where presumably he could have just told the blade to like break itself, but it just didn't work. Let's see. I heard you broke the cloud gouger. Oh, yeah. So it's like they're like someone. There it is. Let's see. But sword fighting is similar to physical augmentation. The strength of the blade varies greatly, depending on the wielder's skill and spirit energy. Whoever was wielding the enchanted blade must have been some puny thug for it to break. Is that how that works? So the Shinichi's only as strong as it is because it's contracted to the sword bearer. Or to the sword saint. That feels weird. You'd think just the blade themselves would be indestructible. But I guess it is. So I guess it goes into the whole idea. Once it literally consumes your magical aptitude, like you cannot perform magic without it. It takes whatever your magic stat is, and it's just like, we're gonna put this straight into durability. whatever your magical ability was, translate that to stat points, and we're gonna put all those stat points into durability. That's how you can stretch it. So once again, this just goes to show that the Sword Saint, even without the Shinichi, is obviously the strongest in the verse, with no enchanted blades involved, considering how powerful and potent SAMURA was without the Tobimune. And I cannot imagine that. So like that once again, crazy upscale. Even if it is, they 5v1 ganked the man, presumably after he was fatigued from slaughtering an entire nation. But crazy upscale for 20 years past Samura and crew, right? Like, the fact that they were all presumably weaker at that point and still managed to take him down at all. Crazy, considering how hyped up he seems. Let's see. We're talking about a man they call the Sword Master. Interesting, yo. That's not even a sign of power. That's the sign of how much Chiro has grown. Is the fact that Sojo's been called some puny fuck. Oh, no, don't insult my glorious king like that. No, somebody, no. Let's see. We're talking about a man they call the Sword Master. They call? Is he not the Sword Master? I thought he was the Sword Saint. Let's see. Kurushigeroku Hiro Shinichi. That sword is indestructible. Just that sword, though. Are you even sure about that? Let's see. Well, obviously I get why. If they ganked it to oblivion and back, nothing happened. I could see why he's like, dude, trust me, we tried. Let's see. Just the Sword Master and I have to die. It's the best and only way. I mean, it is, with what he knows, it is the best way. And like, that's the thing. I brought up earlier the idea, dude, the sword still exists. Someone bad can get their hands on it and do the malediction times 5. Put a Kaioken multiplier on that bad boy. But ultimately, it's the idea of stopping the malediction specifically as it is now. We know the enchanted blades change depending on who wields them. And the Sword Saint or the Sword Master is just clearly levels upon levels upon levels above pretty much everyone else in the verse, at least in terms of base stats and like technical sword aptitude with physical augmentation, physical augmentation and stuff like that. So, naturally, even just reducing the power level of the wielder of the Shinichi would likely hamper its abilities a whole lot. And then again, we literally saw but then again, Hirohiko's a prodigy who was trained by the Shaku, so it is kind of debatable. But we know Hirohiko picked up Kumayori and like performed presumably an insane feat with it by destroying an entire building with simply play while already heavily damaged. So maybe I don't know. Let's see. Here it comes, Crow. He swaps places with the black feathers floating in the air, which is still a really good ability. Mainly because like this is mix-ups to the ability, dog. Like, because notably, it doesn't even seem like attacking the feathers would do anything. Because I guess even if you were to split them, like, unless maybe if you split them in half, he can't warp to them. Or, like, he would risk, like, getting bisected himself. If he were to, like, teleport into one you're slashing through mid-swing, he would appear on it and then have a sword lodge in him. But the ability to infinitely omni-mix somebody from any angle is kind of crazy. Especially considering it doesn't seem like he has a limitation or, like, a chant he has to do or a stance he has to enter. No, he can, like... He could literally have Tobimune up like this, swing down, teleport behind you to a feather that's right here, and just bury the Tobimune directly into your clavicle. He could do it. He could literally just tear your shoulder open, and then you have no choice. Let's see. Bloop. Maybe it's because I hone my sword skills, but more than ever, the sword feels deeply integrated in my hand. Ah, okay. So even if he didn't get too much training without the N10. Once again, since his base stats got better, it really is a Super Saiyan multiplier. Or like a Kaioken multiplier. Because his base stats got better and his understanding of sword play in general got better. Now he understands N10 more and is able to use it more freely. Or at least, we'll see if he can use it more freely, but he's able to use it better. Let's see. Manishiki's, yep, it was Nishiki. Manishiki's flows more lightly and more naturally than before. Interesting. And once again, Chihiro's able to react. I can't tell if this is someone holding back or Chihiro literally just being him. Like, maybe a mix of both. Regardless, that's crazy. So Summer swaps with the feather behind him, and once again, look at that. Summer does seem to do what I mentioned, right? Because it doesn't. I don't see. Well, there are motion lines here, so maybe he did wait on the swing. But look at his position here and his position here. Presumably, an instant when the feather swapped, he's already mid swing. He is already mid. Like that. That kind of stuff is crazy. And notably, the feathers all do seem to be a decent distance, but it doesn't seem to be a limit on where the feathers could spawn from it and how many number. Meaning, like, if one lands on your shoulder, soar right into your shoulder. Like, that's the thing. There's so many mix-ups you can do. Let's see. But Chihiro reacts. But Samura hit him with a mix of mixes. Okay. Baits him with the obvious behind the back. Chihiro swings for the behind the back. Samura switches again right back to the front, which is now Chihiro's back since he flipped to the back. Chihiro notices again. Okay, flips away from Samura's slash. But once again, that's the thing. Samura, he just has like complete battlefield control. I think the only issue Samura technically has is range, but like, until you know, he can teleport anywhere. Like, of course, he can't like just stand there and blast you or something, but still, very, very useful. Let's see. Kuro. Okay. And interesting. Samura very specifically is just barely whiffing on Chihiro. So ultimately, yeah, Samura definitely still is above Chihiro, but stop saying honestly. Ultimately, any relativity at all to Samura is kind of cracked at this point. I know he's drastically amping his perception and like stacking abilities here, but still, good stuff. Let's see. Even the Shiki, I can barely evade him, but I see it right now. Right before he switches places, there's a trace of spirit energy. Okay, so even as good as Samura's gotten, he still can't hide little obvious tells like that would give away his position. But at the same time, looks like he baited Chihiro with it. So that may not even be a weakness to Samura. He may do that to set up a pattern in somebody's head, be like, oh, okay, so this is what happens every single time he does it, and then completely subvert that pattern. That's kind of. I love Samura's fighting style. I love when teleporters, especially teleporters who have like specific limitations, such as swapping places with something. I love when they actually like do that consistently as like a main part of their build and build into their fighting style. Because sometimes when the character just, oh no, they're able to teleport, it's like, oh, will they use it at all offensively or defensively in battle? No, they can just do it for outside of stuff, outside of battle stuff. Oh, okay, kind of bit. Let's see. Now, swings. Oh, okay, never mind. So it looks like he does have to swap something at least, because it looks like the feather went to burst and Toby Mune showed up instead. Interesting. Chihiro, grab it. Let's see. Only a sword. That was impressive. He figured out how to read my movements. Oh, so yeah. So Chihiro was just right into the money. Ultimately, if something's about to be teleported, there will be a trace of spirit energy, but someone doesn't have to throw either the entirety. He doesn't have to throw his whole body in there. He can literally just throw Toby Mune. And then, and once again, he can still seemingly keep swapping here. Because he's here without Toby Mune here. Oh, well, maybe he didn't swap here, but let's see. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, he is able to directly, using the crows, even when he's not holding Toby Mune, he's able to directly summon it to his hands by swapping his places with the feather. Okay, so yeah, it'd be basically impossible to disarm Samura. He'd always be able to get the blade back as long as he has some feathers out. Let's see. I figured out yours. Oh, no, someone please wait. Someone please don't cook my boy. Well, I don't know, Samura. For someone who's supposedly never won in the verse, you sure is struggling against this teenager, dog. You sure is struggling against the day. All right, clashing in the middle of the heavens, too? Yo, stop. Stop the ore farm. It's too much. It's too much. There's too much ore. It's everywhere. Let's see. Slashing in the sky. Interesting though. Once again, they are both seemingly exerting a good chunk of effort to even do this though. This isn't like the low diff fodder fight that you would think. I didn't think you would think, but this isn't the low diff fodder fight you would think that Chihiro would get if he tried to run the ones with Samura. And this isn't the easy one stomp that Samura probably thought it was going to be. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Once again, you can tell Samura's holding back because he knocks Enten out of the hand of Chihiro. Kicks. Wait, I tweeted? Yeah, kicks him back into the water. Doesn't off him. And obviously, Chihiro main character, but still, he doesn't boom him immediately. He gives him time to, like, go ahead, argue your point. Tell me how you are random. They're gonna be able to beat me, or at least change my plans to the point where I could possibly live with my daughter. We'll see. And okay, so there's Enten right on the roof next to him. Zing! What just happened? When Kunishige Rokuhiro forged the enchanted blades, he didn't create. Ah, okay, so he didn't do it specifically. So that is a case of the blades were kind of blank slates that were imprinted upon by the original wielders, or maybe seemingly. Let's say he didn't craft their power specifically, only their general intended purpose: to kill or to protect. The 6 original swords were intended. Wait, what? The original 6 swords were intended as instruments of war to defeat the enemy. Ah, but what makes Enten different is that it was made post-war with no particular enemy in mind by a father and son. Let's see. Clang, clang. But the 7th sword, the Enten, is different. Oh, okay, so she's talking the entire time. It was the only time Rokuhiro's career as a master swordsmith that he co-created a sword with someone. Oh, okay. So, but I guess it makes sense. Kurishige probably didn't want everybody knowing how to imbue magic and weaponry, or else they'd go crazy. Let's see. All I did was follow what he said. Yeah, but that's how you learn, man. Like, I know all of my Sharingan skills have literally just come from looking at other people and be like, like, it is a case where, sure, it sounds kind of sad that, oh, all I did was watch, but you can learn a lot from watching, Sharingan. Don't sleep. Let's see. Oh? Okita swordsmith? Ah, okay, so this is all that. Right after the war, your father attempted to destroy the enchanted blades. Ah, okay. What? They were masterpieces forged with Daten-Seki material, properties with beyond human understanding. Wait, what? Wait! Let's see. After the war, your father, but they were massive forges. Every attempt to destroy them failed. All of them, not just the Shinuchi. Oh, interesting. So they did try to destroy all the enchanted blades on the Shinuchi, but even still they couldn't do that. So the enchanted blades themselves are truly indestructible. Without Enten. Let's see. After that, for nearly 15 years, your father struggled in the darkness with the knowledge of what he created, the enchanted blades and the malediction. But all along, you were his guiding light, illuminating the path forward. Ah, okay. So even if he had given up on destroying the enchanted blades at first, he made Enten with Chiro as a sign to bring hope into the future. And hope by the... And once again, it is very interesting. For a story that's so much about legacy and how people interpret it, he's really trying to tear it all down. Just follow his daddy, dog. That's great. Let's see. You were his guiding light, an illuminating path forward. The Enten was that path. Huh. You were the one who used Enten. I could say the same about Cloud Gouger. Sure, Sojo wasn't a swordsman. I mean, kinda, I guess, but I don't know, he seemed pretty swordsman-like to me. Let's see. He wasn't proficient at the blade. He wasn't as proficient with the blade as the previous owner. Sorry, my brain absolutely I literally almost passed in the sleep. I'm mad. But with that being the case, that does make me wonder once again. How did they try to destroy the enchanted blade? Did they try to use enchanted blade via enchanted blade? Is that where he got the idea for Enten, or was it literally all traditional methods of destruction and they just gave up? Like how many times do you try to destroy something before you're just like, whatever, Yanger? Like, did Flamebone get used? I don't know. Let's see. Sir Soldier wasn't a swordsman. He wasn't as proficient as a blade wielder as the previous owner. But even so, he's a strong fighter. Kinda got crapped a little bit, but that's because Cheetor's been going crazy. Let's see. It wasn't just us. It wasn't just his failure. There's no question. It was also your success. Yeah, with breaking. So looks like people are right. Let's see. And you were able to course correct that katana, which had been compromised from its true intent. Ah, okay. Able to course correct it by wielding its original abilities in the original intended ways, but of course he ended up draining what remained of it by doing so. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so this has to be Snell. Let's see. Splash, splash. To face the past, connect to the future. Perhaps that was the purpose Rokuhiro infused into Enten. That day, you were able to draw out that power. This is a good panel, Cheeto. They are all still objects of my vengeance! I'm sorry, I can't hit you alone, though, Sasuke. Let's see. They are all still distant figures. Oh? Oh? Is he about to pull a Samura and summon Enten? He did! Okay. Let's see. We need to have principles and accountability. The weight of the malediction must have been that... Oh. The weight of the malediction must have been that heavy. Then the Enten's true realm. Yeah. I'm committed to taking it on. There we go. Okay, so we got the real main play. Okay, so that was the big question, right? That was the question that a lot of others were wondering. And shout out to everyone who did call it that Enten would end up being... So I wonder if they're going to keep fighting at this point, or someone going to be like, oh, well, you have a hard bargain, I'll work with you. But then I feel like for some reason, somehow, someone's still going to have to say an antagonist, because we cannot give Chihiro someone. We can't. Unless Yori gets a 10 on the Shinichi right now. Like, genuinely, I have no real clue how Yuta and the rest of everyone on the Hishaku would win, right? Like, they wouldn't even be any stakes if someone joins the side. So I'm assuming it's going to take a little bit more convincing, but overall, a W chapter. Taking one of the biggest, like, long-running... I guess it's kind of a theory. I'd say it's a theory. Yeah, I'd say taking one of the longest-running theories about, like, the true purpose of Enten, and very specifically highlighting a fact that happened super duper early on in the series when you think about it. Like, over, like, 2 years ago at this point, the actual destruction of Cloud Gouger. I'm interested to see that finally come back. I'm interested to see Chihiro finally bring it up. And I'm interested to see Samura finally pause and hesitate. Once again, like, due to the fact that, you know, Chihiro's the main character, so he can't but also the fact that, like, Chihiro is giving him a weird, twisted sense of hope again, even if that hope is strange and twisted, and it's something that he doesn't really want to accept in his hollow heart. I think he is slowly but surely accepting his fate, his role, and all this. So overall, if you made all the way to this video, please leave destroy them all. Destroy them all in the comment section down below. Like, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications so you don't miss out on every videos that come to the channel. Also, you're going to have a Patreon down below where you support me for as low as $1 a month. Hitting these exclusive videos, early content, and more. So now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions to the series I'm to review, ad variations of all my videos, and if you become a $12 Patreon or $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also do a link to my co-plan down below. You drop 5 minutes of a short video, Twitter, means long video, or any means at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I would like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier, XZ, Zera, Brendan Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Uda, Alex Kenny, Yuki Ally, Enzo, Nevis97, Zachary Wilson, Azo2404, Planet Crone, Rye Rich, G Prosper, Swift Strike, Alexicon, Striker Man, and Autumn Mornings Lazo. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Dread Zoan, and A+A. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, Euchia, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Waki Munoz and Waki Munoz. And a vinyl and thank you to our ultimate, that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin's wife. Not Calvin Elder, who ultimately does have one of my kidneys, but now I must know, and I must undergo the process of getting the second one removed, so I can send the other over to this wonderful family.